Welcome to Gorilla Sports Off Court, a post-game live reaction show following a Nuggets dub at home versus OKC. In just a moment, I am joined by Shelby Harris, but this is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. So head to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you save some money today.
Hello and welcome in.
Do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Woo! Yeah, listen, it's a late night. It's a late night, Shelby Harris. I've got Shelby out of, what's your bedtime normally?
I've been in bed already, probably like 10:30, 10:45.
Okay, so we've got Shelby up past his bedtime, but for good reason. The Nuggets found a way. They climbed back in and out of this game. Felt like things were trending in a good direction, and then just before you know it, OKC's not missing a whole lot, and their defense is locking down Jokic. We'll talk about that in a second, but ultimately, we saw the Denver Nuggets prevail. And Shelby, before our mics were hot, you were talking about why the big reason that you think Denver is going to continue to compete well when they play at home, which is
that altitude.
It's so different.
Man, every time you just notice at the end of the game, the Thunder just, they're not moving as much off the ball. They're not crashing the rebounds as hard. That overtime, you literally just saw them playing 5 out.
Yeah.
One person just dribbling the ball, everyone else is standing there waiting for something to happen. And that's a testament to that altitude. At the end of the games, you don't have your energy. You're exhausted. You're really just trying to get by. But you're trying to compete. It's just that you're not going to start doing the extra plays.
Yeah.
All the offensive rebounding, obviously the Thunder dominated offensive rebounding this game.
Yep.
But at the end of the game, you didn't see it. You actually saw the Nuggets getting offensive rebounds. And that's a testament to, just being in altitude, being in shape and not letting that mile high get to you.
Do you ever intentionally spend your off seasons here, training here, because it makes everything a little bit easier everywhere else?
Oh, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
but
I was
also
gonna say
it's
that's very smart.
We love the city. Don't get me wrong. Like we have the kids here and everything. But one of the main reasons I love to be here is because I train here, and then whenever I go back to Cleveland, I feel like Superman.
You are Superman, I bet.
You just catch your breath so much quicker, and that's the difference. If people don't know necessarily about the altitude, the difference is you still get tired. The same. Of course. The difference is, though, it's impossible to catch your breath. And that's where being an athlete in the end of the game, when you're running on E and you're trying to get those last few huff and puffs to really get the energy back, you can't. And that's what you see at the end of the game right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, it feels like you're breathing through a straw when you work out in Denver. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, and it's still, I can feel a difference when I go somewhere else. John, if we could pop up that comment from Robert. He says, I want the MPJ apology to be as loud as the slander. So Robert, here's the deal. Unfortunately, don't hold your breath on that. I'm not going to apologize to Michael Porter Jr. Oopsie. Sorry about that. Because at the end of the day, he knows, I know, the Nuggets know. If you choose to play through an injury, your injury cannot be an excuse for why you're not showing up for your team. I can absolutely commend Michael Porter Jr. for trying to be there for his team. But at the end of the day, a 3-point performance in the Clippers series, a 2-point performance, a 6-point performance just isn't acceptable when you are trying to compete at this level against the Oklahoma City Thunder and you're trying to advance. His job is to show up. He gets paid to show up and make plays. So this is a perfect example, actually, Robert, of Michael Porter Jr. showing up. Despite his injury, he was making plays early, and you could see a complete difference. Wow. Hello, it's late. A complete difference in the way he showed up tonight versus game 1 and game 2. And I would imagine his injury is the same, if not worse, than it was in games 1 and games 2. But I think when you're playing through an injury, so much of showing up for your team, Shelby, is the mentality. It felt like he was just way more locked in, dialed in, and playing confident basketball. So you've played through injuries before. I'm sure of it. You can't let your injuries become a liability. If they do, then you probably shouldn't have played. So this is a great example, in my opinion, of Michael Porter Jr. showing up the way that I had hoped he would in games 1 and games 2. You don't need him to be perfect, but if he's going to play through injury, you need him to do something. And he did a lot of something tonight. Michael Porter Jr., I'm going to give him his flowers. I will not apologize for being tough on him because he was a liability in a lot of ways. However, I can give credit where it's due. Michael Porter Jr. was massive for the Nuggets tonight.
Phenomenal. But any athlete would tell you, though, the minute that you step on that court or step on the field, that means you're healthy.
Yep.
There is no more excuses. You have to excuse. You cannot excuse the injury. You cannot sit there and just be like, oh, my shoulder, because you decided to play.
Right.
And that you're taking minutes away from someone that's healthy that could be playing.
Yep.
And so if you're going to play, you got to go out there and ball. And he did that today. But you can always tell, the little things that are bothering him. And one of the biggest things is rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
I would say rebounding because he's getting the ball snatched away from him from little guys.
And he's a big dude.
Yeah, because you have to go after everything with one arm. But the one thing I would say I respected, though, I saw him going on the ground, diving after balls.
Absolutely.
Like doing anything. He said, screw the shoulder. We're trying to win.
Yep.
And so today it felt like he stopped trying to make excuses for himself. And he just went out there and tried the ball. And that's how it has to be in order for them to be successful. But then also on top of that, like, look at it. Like, you have 4 guys today drop 20 points. And then watching Michael Porter Jr. go out there and put it all on the ground, all on the floor. You got to think that hypes up all your teammates thinking like, damn. He's really out there with one arm. If he can do that, what can I do?
Absolutely. I do think it's motivating. It's motivating for me as a fan. But I do think this is also another great example of how valuable Michael Porter Jr. is. You feel way more confident in this Denver Nuggets team when he's just making plays, whether it be the rebounding, the defensive effort. I mean, I get it. The shoulder, and he's got the leg, right? So he's got the leg, the foot, the shoulder. He's injured. He's banged up. No doubt about it. But like Shelby said, you're taking away minutes that another healthy player could be playing. So if you choose to be in the game, the expectation is you play to the caliber that you need to play in order for this team to win. And Michael Porter Jr. did not do that in games 1 and games 2. So I don't think necessarily I owe him an apology, but I can absolutely spend a second giving him his flowers, which is what we just did, because he was absolutely locked in. He was playing very, very confident. And that's exactly what I think you're going to need from Michael Porter Jr. in this series if the Nuggets advance. Shelby, you and I were chatting before the show, and I agree with you. I've said this as well. If the Nuggets can make it past OKC, I think their chances of winning a title are exceptionally high.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
Where we were,
Considering
how many games
this
left
season,
at the end of the season?
Wow.
Firing your coach. And, pretty much I'll say this. If they win this series, Adelman can pretty much secure that job. You know what I mean? Because this is you just beat, if you beat the number 1 ranked, number overall team in these playoffs, you pretty much have secured yourself a job.
Yep.
Especially a team that was dead.
Oh my
God.
Like
a month ago.
No life. There was no life to this team.
There was nothing but frustration and stares, and everyone's just sitting there so confused.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of it all. The Nuggets are playing with house money right now.
Oh, here's the deal. The most dangerous spot you can get the Denver Nuggets in is when they're vulnerable, when they're a little humiliated, which, my God, I hope they were after what we saw in game 2, and also underestimated. I think this Nuggets team absolutely thrives on seeing ESPN analysts. Listen, at halftime, I'm listening to the commentators on the television screen, and there was not one positive thing they could say about Denver. And I just knew deep in my bones, like, the more people doubt this team, the more dangerous they become. Nikola Jokic, I will give some credit to this OKC defense. They are not effing around. They are giving Nikola Jokic hell. He is having to play probably the toughest he's ever had to play against this team. They are not letting up at all. But he's still Nikola Jokic.
100%.
He's still good for a big play. He's still the best player in the world and can figure it out at any given moment. What I think, you mentioned altitude, which I think will bode very well for Denver in this game and hopefully in game 4 as well. But one of the things that I've talked a little bit about in this studio and on this show is the importance and value of playoff experience, something that we know for a fact OKC does not have, and we know the Denver Nuggets do. I also think that playoff experience helps you more the longer the series goes. I think this series is going to be 6 or 7 games. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Or probably 7. Wait, it has to be 6, doesn't it?
Has to at least be 6.
Okay, so look at me dropping new information.
Technically,
well,
it
actually,
could be 5.
It could be 5.
It could be 5.
Yeah, because they're up
it's 2-1 Denver.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it could be 5. I do think it goes 6-7. But I think playoff experience is going to be the edge that the Denver Nuggets have. And I think playoff experience becomes more valuable and becomes more of a weapon later in the series as OKC starts to get tired and starts to make mistakes, or they run out of adjustments. They don't know how to adjust, right? Because when you get guys on the Nuggets that are showing up around Jokic, normally most teams just go, stop Nikola Jokic and we're fine. Because that's what the Nuggets offense typically looks like. Jokic, if you can get him under control, you're good, you'll win. But now you're getting guys show up. Let's talk about Aaron effing Gordon. I don't know what the hell is going on with that man. But I think besides the fact that he is pushing through so much trauma and emotional distress that he had to pretty much put to the side and be a competitor and be there for his nephews and for his family. Aside from all of that, which is very important and valuable, but he improved his shot so effing much from last season to this season. And I don't see enough big media heads out there celebrating that enough. He looks like a completely different basketball player.
3-point and free throws.
Unbelievable.
He's shooting mid-70s free throw now. Last year he was in the low 60s.
If he got to the line or he was shooting a 3 last year, I was sick to my effing stomach. Now I'm like, get him the ball.
And he's keeping them in the game. How many big shots did he make down the stretch today that really kept them in the game? Aaron Gordon is playing championship basketball.
He is.
And this is
I just got goosebumps.
Yes, I know.
Is it cold in here?
It is a little bit.
Oh my gosh. It is cold, guys. Don't worry. It's not.
But Aaron Gordon is truly playing championship basketball. Now, it's just throughout the games, you see him. He's getting on the floor.
Yep.
He's over here. He's making the hustle plays of, chasing all the balls down, but then he's making the big shots.
Oh my gosh.
Man, we can count in these playoffs alone. He's made more than 3 or 4 big shots that have kept Denver in the game.
Well, game 1 was the freaking dunk where he let go of the ball at literally the exact moment he needed to. Then the 3 in
game 1 against the Thunder.
Yes. Oh, the dunk was game. That was against the Clippers, right?
Yeah, that was Clippers.
Okay, so he had the dunk. He had the 3.
Game 1 against the Clippers?
No, it was later in the series, I believe. I think it was. I don't remember, but it's all a blur. My God, I'm feeling like my head's gonna fall off my shoulders. But nonetheless, he's coming up huge and he's clutch right now for Denver. And I think what's very important about that is you've got Jokic who can be clutch, but in this series,
the last 2 games he's really struggled.
They're giving him a hard time.
Now, granted, it could also, if I would say this, if the game was called the same on both sides, I would say Joker would have a lot more free throw attempts than he has, because this is a lot of football going on Oklahoma City's side.
Listen, I want to ask you that, Shelby, because you are not. I want to make it abundantly clear. Shelby is not a Nuggets fan. He's actually a Bucks fan. Okay.
Fear the deer.
So if he is saying that the officiating feels one-sided, it's very different than if I'm saying that. You guys know I have a little bit of bias towards my Denver Nuggets. Sue me. I don't really care. But he does not. So Shelby, if you feel like the whistle is a little one-sided, I think you should speak on that, because you're not a Nuggets fan and I am.
Well,
so.
it's little stuff that I've noticed that the Thunder get the calls for and the Nuggets won't. And it's something as simple as when somebody starts dribbling and they get bumped, or somebody just no body checks them, the Nuggets aren't going to get that call. But the Thunder have gotten that call every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see Joker on the inside, just swiping at him. And it's easy to see when white guys get banged up, because you can see it on their skin.
Yeah, you can.
Literally, Joker, you're seeing hand, like hit marks, slap marks.
He's got war wounds for
all
sure.
over him, and they're not calling it. And like you said, I'm not necessarily a Nuggets fan. I do. You
enjoy them.
They're my number 2 team now, because I live in Denver.
Yes.
But it's just, it seems like, and this is like what I hate about how the Thunder play, the foul baiting is just getting out of control. But then you do see it, though, on some of these shots that should be easy makes. They miss them, though, because they're trying to draw the foul.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something simple, like when you go for a jumper, you jump straight up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going side to side on their jumpers, trying to run into people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not
it's
playoff
exhausting.
basketball. But also, that's why you end up in a situation down 2-1 against a championship team with championship pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
That's what changes the game out here. And so until the Thunder, I know a lot of people feel this way, but until the Thunder actually prove they can win these games, no one's actually going to believe in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year they were the number 1 ranked team and lost again.
Playoffs a different beast.
Yes, and you see them like they have that. We saw them last game blow the Nuggets out, and they were shooting 75% in the first quarter. Now they have a more regular shooting game. And it's a close game. And I keep saying this about the Nuggets. If you keep it close in the first half, and as long as it doesn't get past 15, you just keep it within, around 10.
Which they did not do in game 2.
Exactly.
Holy
if you keep it within 10, they're going to make a run and always have a chance to win it at the end, as you saw. And that's the best part about this Nuggets team, though, is literally they can make runs with the best of them.
Yep.
But then also they can get cold with the best of them. And so that's why I just think next game, I feel like you're going to get a stronger Nuggets start.
Yep.
And then it's going to be a stronger just finish. And I think it's going to be Nuggets dominance the whole game.
I agree. And honestly, I think one of the things that everyone keeps saying apologize. If you're late to this show, I already said I will not apologize to Michael Porter Jr. because I don't regret saying what I said. But I will give him his flowers. He absolutely showed up tonight. This is exactly what you want to see out of him, with an injury or without an injury. Let's not forget Michael Porter Jr. was streaky and exceptionally inconsistent without an injury this season. So this is not a new issue. This is not a new problem. I'm going to continue to be hard on him because I want him to be the best version of himself, because when he's the best, the Nuggets are the best. It's really that simple. But I want to go back to the experience, the playoff experience, which I think will bode very well for Denver as this series progresses. I think one of the reasons it will help them, besides just being able to make adjustments, and we know that the playoffs are a different beast for every sport. It's just different. However, I also think their ability to remain composed. Composure is huge in this sport. And I want to give my flowers to Denver for not letting the one-sided officiating affect their game. We've seen this Nuggets team a lot. Stop the game, pull themselves mentally out of the game, to argue a call, to bitch about a missed call, to take time out of the basketball game where they could be playing defense to complain about a whistle. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to change how an official is officiating a game. Refs will always make mistakes. A lot of refs will always suck. It is what it is. That's across the board in every major sport. I hate to tell you. They're not perfect. They're not robots. They are going to make mistakes. But Denver's ability to remain composed when they are getting hacked on and it's not getting called. I think at the end of the day, we can go down the line of I didn't even check and look at the free throws. Okay, you had Denver got to the line 24 times. OKC got to the line 22 times. So it's really, and actually last game, it was pretty even as well. And the game before that, it's not really about them not getting to the line enough. I think what it is in this series is OKC can get away with things that Denver can't.
100%.
That's what's hard. And so why that's difficult is because that affects how Denver plays. Denver, I think, is pulling back a little bit on the physicality and the aggression, because they know that it's them doing it is not going to be viewed the same as if OKC does it. So I think it's more of that. I know a lot of people are going to pull up the stats and say, well, Denver actually got to the line 2 times more. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is OKC can get away with things that Denver can't. So I think it makes it difficult for Denver to read the game and figure out how they approach this matchup. Do we start like David Adelman said, you can't join the party late. Do we start aggressive like OKC does? Do we do these ticky-tacky hacking on people fouls? No, probably not, because it's not going to work the same for you as it does for OKC. So that's where I think the frustration in officiating lies, is one team can get away with it and the other cannot.
But luckily, the Nuggets have an Aaron Gordon
yes,
and a Russell Westbrook. I look at those two as the two leaders of this team, because Nikola Jokic is getting frustrated. You can see it with every flail of the arms, every look at the refs, and just how he's reacting to every call that he feels like should be called for an MVP.
Yep.
But you have those guys, Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon, who are bringing them in and just really calming the team down and just having them play through contact and just playing basketball.
Just play basketball.
But just going off that whole, we talk kind of like foul baiting talk. That's also why I give credit to the Denver defense for holding Shea to 18 points after what was it? How many 30-point straight games? I think 3 or 4. And so also on top of that, that's why I feel like he had a bad game, because a lot of his shots are looking to try to get fouled on them. And so instead of trying to actually make the bucket on top of that,
right,
you're looking for contact that's not there, and it throws you off for your shot. And that's why you see them struggle. And that right there, I think, is a big, also the 3-point shooting for Oklahoma City. Denver's perimeter defense has really, really stepped up this game.
Yeah.
Because obviously last game, we know what happened last game, and that was a struggle. And so Denver made it an emphasis to go out there and really get in their face and force them to take contested shots. And man, like that right there, just looking at these stats for the Thunder, you got to look. Chet Holmgren 1 for 6 from 3. Jalen Williams 3 for 7. Shea 1 for 6. Dort 0 for 4. That's their starting lineup of shooters, and Denver did a magnificent job. And then going to the free throws, Oklahoma City didn't make them.
That's right.
And Denver did. And you see who won.
You know why they didn't make him? Because ball don't lie.
Hey, it don't.
Sorry.
Hey,
every time I see a missed free throw, unless it's for Denver, of course, I don't ever celebrate that. But a missed free throw for the other team, ball don't lie. It's the facts. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. I do want to give another little shout out here. Christian Brown was struggling pretty good in the first 2 games of this series. I was a little worried about him. His defense on SGA tonight was exactly what you want to see. And it's no different, actually, than the adjustments he had to make on Harden as the series progressed. And he did the same thing against SGA from games 1 and games 2 to games 3. That also speaks volumes of the maturity and that just grit that Christian Brown has. I think this Nuggets, I'm getting goosebumps again. Is the air on? Or am I just getting goosebumps because I'm excited? I think it's the goosebumps because I'm excited. Because honestly, when this Nuggets team, when they are all on, they're special.
Man, we got to give a shout out to Jamal Murray, though.
Ah, gosh, of course we do.
I was
hard on him all year.
Yeah,
I
hard
was.
on him, but
I was.
I'm telling you, obviously, Denver loves Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot. But Jamal Murray has to be up there for Mr. Big Shot. He has no problem taking it. And that's the first step of the battle.
Yep.
Is having the confidence to take the shot. Jamal Murray's going out there and really performing. He hit the shots for, in this game. And really, he led them in scoring today. After, we've been very critical of Jamal Murray. And
rightfully so.
Yeah, and wanting him to step up and be the player that we see every postseason.
Yep.
And today he did that.
He did. And it's so interesting because I almost, maybe that's like part of his, and I don't think he intentionally does this. I'm not implying that he intentionally is dropping stinkers in the regular season just to be the hero in the postseason. But I think that's what makes Jamal Murray so dangerous because in the regular season, he's just a regular basketball player, right? You're like, he's good. Yeah. But meh. And then in the postseason, it's just wow.
This killer instinct comes out of nowhere.
And you know what? That makes him dangerous because you almost let your guard down a little. You're like, yeah, we don't have to worry about this guy. We watched him in the regular season. We're not worried about it. And then he just does what Jamal Murray does in the postseason, which is the killer instincts you talk about. When he starts to get that snarl and that shoulder shrug, I'm scared. I'm shaking in my boots. Can't imagine how the opposing team feels. I mean, this is the version of Jamal you want to see consistently, but I also do understand that kind of makes him more dangerous that you only see flashes of it, so you don't really know when to prepare for it. You let your guard down, and that's probably the worst thing you could do against Jamal Murray because that's exactly when he's going to attack.
You know what I love the most? The effort on defense.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine that? Can you believe that it's just as simple as the E word? How many times have you guys, if you've been with me on this show for every post game that we've done, if we had an effort swear jar,
100%,
I think I'd be a flippin' millionaire because that truly is the Nuggets' one issue for the most part is just make the effort. That's what defense is.
Yeah, and I really feel like when you see a guy, like we said before, like Michael Porter Jr. throwing his body around and he's hurt, you have no excuse at that point.
Right.
You just got to go and play. And that's what you saw from Jamal, because what you do see sometimes from Jamal when he's playing backside, he necessarily, is his help defense. He's not really paying attention that much.
Right.
But today you saw him locked in, really trying to just make plays wherever he could.
Yep.
And then the defensive plays turn into offensive plays for him or for the rest of the team. So you really got to give a huge kudos to Jamal just for that performance. But if I'm the Nuggets, I do have to be worried about one thing. Because that first game, you dominated them on offensive glass. Ever since then, it's been a struggle. And the offensive glass is so important in the playoffs. And, Hardenstein and Holmgren, they really did they did their thing today. They necessarily didn't.
I'm getting sick of them too,
produce.
By the way.
Yeah, they really didn't produce necessarily how they're supposed to. But them working on the offensive glass, Denver has to step it up on that aspect. Because if you look at, how they got out-rebounded on offensive glass today, that right there could be the difference between winning and losing. Offensive rebounds today, Thunder 18, Denver had 5.
You guys, what did I say on the show? There's a social clip out there, okay? Go find it, because I'm not a liar. My pants are not on fire. I did say it, okay? I said the one thing I wanted Denver to improve on in Game 3 was following their damn shot. Follow your shot. OKC's defense is good. It's going to remain good. That's not changing at all whatsoever. Okay. So what you can't control the fact that they're going to show up and play great defense because they're going to do that anyway, no matter what. What you can control is following your dang shot. You know why? Because they're not all going to fall. Your threes aren't going to fall. You're not going to make every shot you take because this is a good team defensively. What you can control is making the effort. I got to tell you, I think one of my favorite Denver Nuggets rebounders is Russell Westbrook because it looks like this man comes flying from the rafters. He comes out of flipping nowhere. And I'm sitting there going, okay, all of you guys, all of you big grown men standing there with your feet glued to the floor, Russ comes flying through the sky like a bat and gets a rebound that I had no idea he was even thinking about. That is what you need from every guy on this team. But I think that's what Russ brings. Russ brings that energy. He brings that effort. He brings that hustle. And that's exactly, in my opinion, what this Nuggets team has struggled with over the since their championship run, is missing that guy. KCP was kind of that guy. Bruce Brown off the bench was that guy. They just brought a different energy and a hustle. I'll take KCP out of that, but I do love KCP. So he brought his own 3-and-D. He was a 3-and-D guy. But the effort, the energy, that sort of guy that just the second they're on the floor, they make plays. That was Bruce Brown. We were devastated to lose Bruce Brown, and it showed when we lost Bruce Brown. Then you get Russell Westbrook, and you kind of get the same effect where the second he is on the floor, he is making a play. And he's hustling, and he's got energy, and he's keeping this Nuggets team alive. There's a comment here about Peyton Watson.
Just about to talk about him, how important minutes he's playing.
I got to tell you, crucial flipping minutes for the youngster who, one of my favorite things about Peyton Watson, and I am really good friends with his uncle, actually. And so every time Peyton makes a big play, I'm texting his uncle and his wife in the group chat, and I'm like, PY, like I'm all excited. One of my favorite things about Peyton Watson's game is he's not perfect. He makes mistakes. He'll airball a three from time to time. He'll miss a free throw. He'll have a turnover. He'll miss a dunk, whatever.
He will
always make a play immediately following a mistake. And that is so coachable. A guy like that is so coachable, number one. But number two, they're just so crucial. It's good to have guys like that don't ever let a mistake affect their demeanor, their energy, and their effort. And Peyton Watson never does. Russell Westbrook's no different. Those are two guys right there that I feel like just bring that oomph. They're that little extra piece that Denver needs.
You got to give a shout out to David Adelman for that because what I will say is different than what Michael Malone does is David Adelman's going with the hot hand.
Yep.
Like today, Michael Porter Jr. played 42 minutes after really just being in the 20s all game. But also, Peyton Watson's minutes went up to 17. So he's rewarding his players for playing good. But also, he's putting the players on the floor who are getting buckets.
Yep.
And you have to respect it. He's not necessarily going about some like concrete rotation.
Yeah.
It's all about, who's hot. And so watching, and once again, Russell Westbrook will always, to me, be the most important signing that they had this year.
I agree.
Just because of all the energy.
You know how I felt about that?
Yeah.
From jump, I was like, I think this is amazing.
But now they're finally getting like legit minutes out of two people off the bench. And this is something that the Nuggets have struggled with all year is their bench playing, their bench scoring, and even really trying to give minutes to their bench. And now it seems like they have two reliable players at least that they can rotate in. And obviously you're going to have to, they only went 8 deep today. They only went 8 deep, and with Zeke Naji only getting 3 minutes. So they really only went 7 and a quarter type. So we'll see exactly how, it goes on in the future of the series. But, man, the 7 people they were all playing, they're playing some good basketball.
Very good.
MPJ is teetering, good game here, bad game here. But hopefully this is the one that kind of gets them over the hump. And we start to see a more consistent MPJ.
Because you know what MPJ's problem is, Shelby? His problem is not his lack of skill. That's never been the effing problem with Michael Porter Jr. It's not that he doesn't have the skill and the talent. He has raw skill, raw talent. Of course. It's his confidence. So a game like this is big for him because you can tell the moment Michael Porter Jr. mentally removes himself from the game because he doesn't have confidence. It's hard to watch. It's a tough watch. The games where he has no confidence in his game and what he's going to bring to the table, you can see it. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to watch. When he plays confident basketball, what I don't think these guys understand, these max contract players, you're not just getting paid for your talent. You're getting paid for your value.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Porter Jr. brings value. Jamal Murray brings value. So sue me for being hard on the guys that bring value because guess what? when Michael Porter Jr. isn't playing confident basketball and he's not checked the F in, it's contagious. Everybody starts to check the F out. Because if he's not checked in, why am I? That's how important these players are. That's why I'm tough on Jamal. That's why I'm tough on Michael Porter Jr. because the value they bring, that's also why you get paid the big bucks. It's not just your talent. It's the value that you bring into a locker room, that you bring in game, that you bring in practices, whatever the case. And when Michael Porter Jr. mentally is not there, and for any reason, that's none of my business. I know he's dealt with a lot of family stuff, the injuries. You can speak on injuries. I'm sure that they mentally do exhaust you to deal with that and to try to play through that. I get it, but that's why it's so important for him to have games like this where you can get that confidence back on track. The momentum that he needs mentally is huge. And I think when you get him playing at this level, in my opinion, yes, it's fair to say, like, will we get this again? Because he has been very streaky and very inconsistent. But I think if you fix the confidence issue with Michael Porter Jr., you're likely going to get enough out of him to win basketball games, and this may have been the turning point in the postseason for him
he just
to
needs
feel
to
that
see
way.
one go in.
That's it.
And that's my biggest. I think in the beginning game, he just needs to see the ball go in the hoop.
Yep.
And then right then it starts him off on this hellstorm. Because today 5 for 6 from 3, and that's really where the slack got picked up with Joker struggling today.
Yep.
Was Michael Porter Jr. really dropping 21 today after really being a non-factor. But in order for the Nuggets to be successful, we all know what it's going to have to take. Joker got to get it going. And that's on also Joker and Adelman to find ways for Joker to really get going, because obviously he's not open. He's being hounded every chance he gets. So you got to drop some stuff in order to kind of just take some stress off of him.
Yeah.
And it's not happening right now. Every time he touches the ball, there's 2 people on him. And so obviously it worked out, because that's why, 3 other starters had 20 plus, because Joker will make that pass. He will make that right decision. But in order for them to finish this series and the win, if we're talking about just not just winning the series, but winning the championship, Joker has to be consistent going forward. This is the most frustrated I've seen him all season.
Yeah.
These last 2 games, I have not seen him really like getting banged around like this and just missing shots he usually makes.
Yeah.
And
normally he's good for whatever shot he takes.
This is a different time that we're seeing right now. And so, it's only, and that's actually the beauty of it. You had that big win. Thunder had that big win in game 2. Joker had a crappy game.
Yeah.
Fouls out in the 3rd quarter.
Yep. He was frustrated.
Then game 3, Joker doesn't have a good game and you lose. I'm telling you, if you're Oklahoma City, I'm worried.
Listen, that's a really great point. If this Nuggets team is capable, because I think a lot of people believe Jokic will eventually find a way. He's going to break through out of this tough defense that OKC's got for him, and he's going to find a way. That's what you do when you're the best player in the world. Do these games change my opinion on him being the best player in the world? No. Try again. If that's what you were coming to this show for, then leave. It's not going to happen, okay? He's still the best player in the world. He will find a way past this double, triple teaming that OKC's got going on. They're doing a great job at slowing him down. But at the end of the day, he is still Nikola Jokic. I think at this point, the way it's trending, let's say the Nuggets go all the way. They're in the finals. Finals MVP is looking a whole lot like it's Aaron Gordon's to take right now.
100%.
He is just lights out. He is just playing. He is the X factor in the postseason, period. Point blank, period. Aaron Gordon is the X factor in this year's postseason. So if the Nuggets make it past OKC, I think they've got a really great shot at winning it all. If they do, I think you've got Aaron Gordon with a really great shot at Finals MVP. John, I think we've got a couple minutes from David Adelman that should be ready to go in the, I think it should be in there. Yep, we've got 2 minutes right there. We are going to play for you guys a couple of minutes from David Adelman following this game. Obviously, an exciting overtime win for the Denver Nuggets. But we know the job's not done yet, and I would imagine David Adelman understands that as well. But let's take a couple of minutes. We'll reconvene afterwards. Here is Coach Adelman following the big win against OKC in Game 3. Let's check it out.
Yeah, not getting down 60. That's always tough to make a run when you're down 60. No, you're right. We just have to stay in it. And, he does a great job, Mark does, of bringing different lineups in that first. That's why I really mean it. The first 18 minutes, you see so many different combinations. And he's, I know he's looking for something to find a rhythm or how he's going to rotate the second half. He does a great job of it. And so I just think the longer you can stay in the game, then they got to make decisions earlier in the second half of where they're going, how they're going to do it, and then you give yourself an opportunity where, their guys are playing big minutes just like we are. So it's, and it's hard. It's really hard. It's easy to say, like, just stay in it, man. It's like, no, like they're coming 100 miles an hour. They have a great basketball team, well coached. So just feel good to, find a way to win.
David, Jokic has an off night. You guys get crushed on the offensive glass. You lose the turnover battle, but you still manage to get that win.
Yeah.
What did you see from them despite all of that?
Defensive energy. We finally kind of shored up the defensive rebound. They shot 19 more shots than us. That can't happen, on a normal night. And Nicola's off night. 2016 and 6. Just an awful NBA night. And I actually thought the shots he got, and I always, the stat sheet always says something, but sometimes it says nothing at the same time. The guy shoots 45% from three. He had an off night. If we would have lost this game, I'd have walked in here and you just said, why is he shooting so many threes? I said, he shoots 45% from three. So he's going to shoot threes. The paint is packed. We shot 40 threes. We have to take what they give us and avoid the turnovers. And it's crazy to say this, but 16 for 20 is not bad compared to game 2. We took care of it better, especially early in the game, talking about taking knockout punches, only one turnover in the first quarter. That's going to get you in a good start. We didn't make shots early, but we got shots to the rim, and that's important.
I think we got to give a lot of credit to David Adelman. My gosh. I think everybody knew that if this Nuggets team was, I don't think listen, you guys know if you join my show often, I love this team to death, but I'm also a very realistic sports fan. I have to do that for my own sanity purposes. I don't like to consider myself a delusional person in general in life. I certainly will not be that with my sports team. Otherwise, I'll go insane, okay? The realistic side of me did not see this Nuggets team. Quite frankly, I was worried about round 1. Given their situation, given how injured they were all season, given the coaching change, all the things. It's not that I doubted this team. It's just they kind of had the odds against them at that point. Really, that was the situation they were in. David Adelman has done an exceptional job. And Shelby, one of the first things that the players said following Coach Malone's firing, when David Adelman stepped up, it was against the Sacramento Kings. They had 3 regular season games left: Kings, Grizzlies, Rockets. One of the first things the players were very quick to vocalize was, we finally feel heard. That is a large statement coming from players. More than one player shared that same sentiment. As a professional athlete, Shelby, how important is the dynamic between coach and player? The trust that's there, the feeling heard. Let's be real. Professional athletes have egos. Men have egos, period. Let's start there. Then you add the professional athlete on top of that. The ego just gets a little bit bigger. It's nothing personal. It's just the truth. To not feel heard or respected, come on. It's pretty tough to do your job when you feel that way.
Well, because we are professionals at what we do. So
Correct.
Our views and we feel like our views and what we see on the court or on the field should be heard and should be seen. And so when you have a coach that acknowledges, all right, I hear you, I'm going to try to implement something that you see into our game plan, it just makes you want to play harder for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that when you have a coach you can play for, you don't even necessarily notice it.
Yeah.
But it's just something internal that makes you want to play harder for them, and you do play harder for them.
Yeah.
And that's when you see the guys diving on the balls and doing stuff, because they're trying to prove to the Cronkies and to the world that David Adelman's supposed to be their coach. Because that's the guy,
like him. Yeah.
That's the guy they want to ride with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy they want to ride for. And it's the most empowering thing is a coach that listens.
Yeah.
And not because I've had a coach before. I won't say any names. That said,
name drop. No, I'm just petty.
Said,
Ignore me.
One said, I don't take advice from players, and then said, players play coach's coach. So it's pretty much like stay in your lane. But then also
Right.
That's why we were asked.
Okay, I understand what the coach is saying, because with certain athletes, you probably do have to set that boundary of like, hey, Mr. Diva, you don't get to just come in here and tell it like, here's your lane, here's mine. That being said, though, there's
If you're a professional athlete.
Right. There's circumstantial things there where it's like sometimes player knows best.
Yeah. And we're not saying all the time, but the thing is that sometimes, a lot of times in sports, you have a coach that didn't play pro. So
Ooh, got him.
So then right
true.
then, in that same aspect, when you have a coach that didn't play pro, you look at them and be like, so you don't want to listen to you don't want to listen to me. I'm the pro player. I'm not even saying that I'm always right. It's just that you may want to hear what I'm seeing because I've seen a lot of it.
Right.
And it's different than the
I've
coach's
been there,
view.
done that.
Yeah, use the coach's view. Like
Yeah.
being a player view, I'm like, all right, you have a different feel to the game.
Yeah.
And so I think the coolest part about it is just like Adelman is really just, if you guys see something, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
If I see something, I'm gonna tell you.
Yep.
If you're not playing well, I'm not gonna play you.
Yep.
I'm playing whoever the best. Like it's
very simple.
It's
Yeah.
really ambiguous coaching style where it's pretty much like it seems like he's just doing what's best for the team.
Yep.
And it's crazy to even say that in today's age, like a coach is actually doing what's best for the team. Because with politics,
Doesn't that feel like
sports,
common sense?
no, but with so much
But it's
politics
sad
in
because it's
sports,
not. Yeah.
you got to think when you have guys making max contracts, you have those guys. The owners are telling the GM and the head coach play those guys.
Well,
we're
look at
paying
what
them.
happened in Denver. That
Yeah.
was the whole reason Coach Malone lost his job. And so did Calvin Booth, because those two were in a war against each other and they were using these players as pawns in their
Mhm.
game. And it ultimately affected the entire team. So yeah, the politics are absolutely there. There have been reports that Nikola Jokic, in his entire career, this is the most vocal and comfortable he's been being vocal. We've got a clip from Coach Adelman talking about Jokic and Jokic's frustrations, I would assume in potentially last game, and then finding a way to win in this game, and kind of alluding to what we can expect potentially from game 4. So we've got about a minute and a half of Coach Adelman again, specifically talking a little bit about the guy that seems to be struggling, but we know still is making an impact and hopefully has an even bigger impact in game 4. Here's Coach Adelman talking about Nikola Jokic. Let's check it out.
Frustrated with himself. Right. I think he picks people up, but I think our whole team picks each other up, throughout all these games. And the bottom line is that guy just keeps shooting the ball. And the ball is coming to him, regardless of the results or the efficiency that night. And I'm sure he's frustrated. When you're that efficient, maybe arguably one of the most efficient players to ever play any sport. I get it. I get why he's frustrated. But game 4 is going to come, and he's going to touch it a million times. Hope he shoots it all the time. He's going to make plays for other people. His defensive rebounding was really impactful. Nikola is Nikola, and our team right now, and I mean it, they're picking each other up man by man. Different people played tonight. We threw Zeke out there. He had good energy. The stats don't matter. Peyton Watson had great energy. And we just need whatever man we put on the court to give us that and give it for the guy next to you. And if you do that, you stay in games.
Kind of on that note, how would you describe the individuals from a human perspective that make up a team that just finds a way to win?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I think the mentality between each game is to think of yourself in an unselfish way. How am I going to make the guy next to me better for the next game? And I think when you do that, then when you come together, it's this culture of just trying to find a way. And you have to have that. You have to cultivate that game by game because it's going to change. And they're going to make adjustments, and game 4 is going to be its own thing. And we're going to have new challenges, and there may be foul trouble, and different people are in and all that. The bottom line is these guys trust each other in that locker room, and whatever comes our way, we'll do our best to stay in the game.
What, Shelby, do you think, if you had to predict, Coach Adelman just talked about adjustments. We know that OKC will make adjustments. We know that Denver will make adjustments. What do you think OKC will adjust the most ahead of game 4?
I don't think they're really going to adjust much.
Okay.
Because their game plan is to stop Joker.
Yep.
And they are accomplishing that. Their game plan is to make the little guys, and they're not little, they're all 6'10 plus.
They're huge.
to make everybody else though make plays.
Yeah.
And that's the whole game plan. And today, the way they look at it is, it just worked out for them today.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can do another performance on Joker like that again, we should win the game. And honestly, I agree with them.
Yeah.
If you hold Joker to the 0 for 10 from 3, just a struggle of it was a force.
Mm-hmm.
This whole game was a force. And so if you can force him to just keep forcing stuff up, you'll win the game.
Yeah.
And so if I'm Denver now you have to figure out how to get him some easy shots.
Yeah.
And granted, he did have a bunch of open threes today. He just didn't hit them. And not all of his shots were all contested. He just didn't hit, the normal shots we're used to seeing him hit.
Right.
But you just have to, just like MPJ, he just needs to see the ball go into the hole.
That's it.
Because once that happens, all right, you're just going to start flicking them up with a little bit more confidence. And he's not lacking for confidence at all. But the last 2 games, though, it's been a struggle from deep. So you're going to just see him. We need to see that first make go in.
Mhm.
And then after that, you'll see Joker go right back to normal. But other than that, though, like I said before, Thunder should be worried. The Nuggets actually should be on a high right now because you stopped our best player, and
We
we
still find a way.
won
Yep.
and actually whooped your ass in overtime.
Yeah.
Without Joker.
Yeah.
Really with no help from Joker. And that's the coolest part about this game is because in the overtime, it was Jamal Murray,
Yep.
Aaron Gordon, and it was the other guys, the guys that they were going to allow you to win with. They win one.
How fatigued, because we talked about altitude to start the show, how fatigued do you think that OKC will be in game 4?
Oh, they're going to be dead. They'll be dead. Because a couple
Love
of
it.
days in altitude does nothing for you. It actually hurts you. Because
Yeah.
I just remember back in the day, well, not back, I say back in the day, it was like 2018.
He's acting like he's a grandpa. Dear God.
I feel like you see his gray hairs. Oh, it actually looks like I dyed him. No, but like back then when I remember it was the Patriots playing in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And they came out to Colorado Springs first, and they tried to go down from here to Mexico City. And then the study's shown that it doesn't help. It actually hurts you more being in altitude longer and not adjusting to it than it doesn't than just coming in and playing right away.
Yeah.
So this second game, I expect to see
They're going to be gassed.
some of the shots to be a lot shorter. You're not going to see as much effort. You actually might even see Oklahoma City go deeper in their bench and have to play some guys to give some of their guys a break because you can't play everyone 45, 50 minutes
Right.
again. So we'll see how it goes, but I expect Oklahoma City to be gassed.
Well, you know, it's so funny. I always see a lot of comments of people saying like, and honestly, even I think at times have said this as well, where I'm like, you can't play Jokic that many minutes. Yeah, you can. He's been doing it all season. He's been doing it for many seasons, actually. He's actually pretty used to playing 40 plus minutes every single night. OKC is maybe not as used to that. They had a lot of blowout wins this year. Their starters got to rest quite a bit. They had that nice and easy sweep where they got to rest the 9 days ahead of meeting the Denver Nuggets in a series. I think although OKC went into the series with a rest advantage, I think Denver knows how to play tired more than OKC will.
Did you see in that fourth quarter? It was a play where ball got loose. I think Joker goes up to shoot a layup or something. Gets balls loose. And they kick it out to the wing, like they kick it out to half court, and all I see is Joker sprinting down the court.
Honestly, when he runs, though,
passing
it's hilarious.
But he's like literally, I know he loves horses, but he runs like he's running past everybody else.
It's true.
And it just shows that like the Nuggets are in shape.
Yeah.
And they're in altitude shape.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress it enough how important that is going to be.
It's going to be huge.
In crunch time.
Yeah.
But not even just here. When they go play their away games, they're going to be filled. They're going to recover so quick. A game goes in overtime, you're going to see them perform still, just like they are today, but it's going to be even better. When I played in Denver, when I played here with the Broncos, my favorite game were away games. Hated playing here. Even though I love the city, loved it. The altitude is just killer here. It kills you. So the away games, you feel like a new man. So that's why I'm not worried. I think the Nuggets are going to handle business next game. But then also, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended in 5.
You know what? How fabulous would that be? That would just be really stinking fabulous. No, I think at the end of the day, the Denver Nuggets have a lot working in their favor right now. But again, I'm glad that David Adelman, I personally, Shelby, I said this on the postgame show after game 2. You can imagine that was a torturous postgame show. There wasn't much I liked about game 2, but we still did our show. We still were trucking along. I truly believe the best thing that could have happened for Denver was an absolute domination by OKC in that game. Had they lost that game in a close way, you would have had the Nuggets get complacent like they typically do. We've seen it before. We have seen it before. The Denver Nuggets playing complacent basketball is ugly. It's gross. I don't want to see it. I hate it. But when they have a little bit of motivation, aka humiliation, aka you just got embarrassed, by a bunch of young bucks, I think that was really good for this team. I think they now know what it looks like when OKC plays their best basketball and Denver plays their worst. I don't think we have yet seen, this is what I think a lot of Nuggets fans should hold on to. We have seen OKC play their best basketball in this series, in my opinion. We have not yet seen Denver play their best basketball yet, and they're still up 2-1 in this series.
Can we at least get a good first quarter?
For God's sake.
Not even the first quarter.
Shelby, I've been waiting for that all season long.
Not even the first quarter. You just can't, and the Nuggets are towing the line between, being able to compete and stay in these games versus getting blown out. You can't start the game 17-8. That's just not, sustainable, because you're a couple shots away, a miss or two away from it being, now it's 21-8.
Oh, I know it.
Now it's 28-8.
Yeah.
And that you cannot start the games like this. I think for the Nuggets to sustain success, they have to start, starting the game out faster.
Have to. Yep.
And it seems like, and it's been every game of the series where the Nuggets are not strong in the first quarter.
Yep.
And that is going, and I don't want it to come back and bite them in the ass. And so
I agree.
The whole thing about the Nuggets is and it's easier said than done. It's easy to say this while I'm sitting in this chair, getting ready for the next football season while they're playing basketball. But that's just the only way you can win. Even in football, if you go down 14-0 in the first quarter, more likely you're going to lose.
Right.
More likely it's going to be tough. But the Nuggets, that championship resiliency is really showing. But I wish it didn't have to.
Right.
To handle their business early.
I agree.
So we don't have to deal with these problems later. And all these giving us all heart attacks at the end of the game, watching all these games. And so the Nuggets first quarter offense and defense they need to start with their hair on fire.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we were talking a little bit about a pretty special player that's getting some really crucial minutes in this series. And just in general, I have a lot. I mean, this is a Peyton Watson fan club for the most part on this show. I really have very few negative things to say about him. I just adore him and his game and the way in which he plays. But we've got a little under 2 minutes of Peyton Watson talking in the locker room. So let's hear from the guy playing crucial minutes and making an impact in those minutes. Here's Peyton Watson.
Peyton, after the way Game 2 went, how big was it for you to come back home, get the win, and take a 2-1 series lead?
I mean, it's huge. Obviously, we never want to lose the way we did in the fashion we did down in OKC. But at the end of the day, we all knew that, series is 1-1. Series is tied up regardless if you lose by 1 or you lose by 100. Series is tied up. So we knew we had a chance to come in today, especially still in home court, and just to come in front of our fans and try to get a win.
What does it say about the team that you guys were solid? I think you're +5 in non-Joker minutes. He goes 0 for 10 from 3, and y'all still are able to pull out a win, because not a lot of people would necessarily predict that.
I mean, it's huge. I think it's huge, especially, for Yoke. I think he knows that he'll never have a game where he goes 0 for 10 from 3 again. So I think being able to trust and confide in other guys, for other guys to come up big and hit shots and kind of help carry that offensive load was huge. And, going down in these down-the-wire games, it could be any one of us that can make a big play. So I'm glad that, we were able to win this game, especially with Yoke having an uncharacteristic bad shooting night. But he did everything else. He's a warrior. He played pretty much every minute of the game, rebounded amazing for us. His impact can't be understated regardless of if he shot bad or not.
Peyton, that was the 6th time since the mid-'70s that an NBA team's only allowed 2 points in overtime. How much did your guys' defense just turn up in the clutch time?
You said this is the first time since what?
6th time since the mid-'70s a team has allowed 2 or fewer points in overtime.
Wow, that's huge. I'm glad that we were able to come out in the overtime and continue that momentum that we had before. It's hard to, go into a game in overtime and hold a team, especially like that, to 2 points with some of the players they got. It was elite. So I'm glad that we showed that we're able to clamp down on defense, and that's going to be big for us moving forward.
Can you explain?
Yeah.
P-Watt. He's huge. And honestly, we've seen Peyton Watson be huge many times defensively, especially. His defensive upside is huge. Against the Timberwolves, he was one of my favorite players, actually.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite players to watch against the Timberwolves, despite how everything ended last season, was Peyton Watson. I think that he just gives you he elevates this team in a different way. He's got young energy. He's also got fresher legs than most of these guys because he's not playing as much. And I do think David Adelman is utilizing Peyton Watson in the perfect way right now. I'd love to see him play more, selfishly, because I just love watching him play. But I do think he's being utilized correctly.
Well, if he was to play more, I guess it's a good problem to have, though, because then you're like, who would come off the floor? But, man, Peyton Watson has been huge. I swear, it feels like every three he's taken in this series has gone in. except for obviously the one he missed. One of them he missed today. But I think it was really cool just to see his development from really, being in rotation early, getting, then he got hurt. Then, he comes back a little bit. They take him out the rotation a little bit, and he's had to earn and claw his way back into this rotation and to get playoff minutes. Man, for a young guy, this could be what sets him up to really have his career to start the ascent of his career. But, it's starting to show. And once again, the cool thing about it is the difference between Mike Malone and David Adelman is if Michael Malone was here, would Peyton Watson even be playing?
Nope.
And that's the thing. He's giving them such great minutes.
Yep.
As a guy off the bench, as a young guy, he's really the youngest guy that they're playing.
Yeah.
And so he's coming out there, he's playing good minutes. And honestly, I really think that, because I always look at it, some of the shots he hits, and a lot of shots he makes, crucial moments.
Yep.
Crucial moments where you need someone to make a shot.
They're momentum shifters almost.
Yeah, and
he pulls up for the Nuggets right when you need him to.
And then what I need them to do, though, I need him and CB to have a good game at the same game. The same game.
I would love that.
I want both of them to have a good game and not just one of them at a time. But beggars can't be choosers, and so we just got to be happy with MPJ breaking this bad spell. But you can't say enough about Peyton Watson because you're talking about even on the defensive end, he's using his length, and as a young guy that's actually playing, he's running after everything, he's diving after everything, he's giving you all that really you need from a guy that's going to come in, give you 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we want to see more of that, and we want to see more shot making, and you might actually see P. Watt get more and more playing time.
Yeah. And I think Peyton Watson, too, is the type of player, and I've said this many times throughout the season, Peyton Watson is the type of player that gets better the more he plays. And that just seems like common sense. I get it. But he does gain confidence when he's playing in big moments, even when he messes up. Keep him in there. Let him kind of claw his way back into a game the same way he's clawed his way in and out of the starting rotation and whatever else. He's constantly in audition mode, if you will. He's constantly trying to prove something to somebody.
Which can be good sometimes.
It's amazing. I actually wish some of our max contract guys played that way. Play like you're scared to lose your job.
Yeah.
Peyton Watson plays like he's scared to lose his job. That's why you constantly get effort out of him. But I think that's what makes him so dangerous. That's his edge. That's his weapon. Is he is always playing tougher than the guy next to him because he never knows when it's his turn. He's got the next man up mentality, and it shows the moment he steps foot on the court because he's just giving 100% of the time.
Well, you just hope he keeps it, though, when he actually does eventually become a starter and gets these starter minutes. And that you hope he keeps that hunger.
Yep.
That next man up mentality, like you said. But one thing I would hope for next game, and anyone can yell at me if I'm wrong, I want the refs to call the game like they did in overtime the whole game.
Oh,
because
yeah,
Oklahoma City didn't get any of those little ticky-tack calls they were trying to get. They actually were just letting them play basketball. Let's see that the whole game. Let's see real basketball the whole game.
I agree.
And also, I was just saying, if I was the Nuggets, make Lou Dort actually be an offensive player.
I call him Dork. For fun.
Listen,
real, I will say this. I have to just be fully transparent. There is a reason that I watch most basketball games or football games for that matter at home. Because for some reason, when I'm in a fit of rage because my team is not doing their job, I hurl insults at innocent people that don't deserve it. I said tonight that Caruso's head looked like a pimple. I said it. I meant it. He was frustrating me. He had just splashed a 3. I was very upset. I called Lou Dork. What can I say? I get offensive at times. It's the truth. And at least I'm self-aware. And at least I'm an honest woman. I will say this. I can get very offensive.
I can see the pimple thing because he's bald. He's bald, and it's when people put that toothpaste in the pimple type thing, and he has the white headband, kind of goes together.
It's so funny because Alex, my fiance, just sits there and he just looks at me and he's like, "You are being an evil person." I'm like, no. It doesn't count right now. When I'm in a fit of rage over sports, I think the things we say during our favorite teams' games should not be held accountable. We should not be held accountable for the things we say.
It's funny,
I would never tell Alex Caruso to his face that his head looks like a pimple. But in that moment when he splashed a 3 and was continuing to ball out. I mean, the dude is a monster. I'll give credit where it's due, but in that fit of rage, yeah, I
always say you remind me of my grandma, because my grandma used to just scream at the TV.
Yeah.
And then be like, "You big dummy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" Oh.
Do you think was she that way when she would watch you play sports?
Oh yeah. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, in high school, I could just hear, "Go Shelby,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
Shelby."
Yeah.
You know, R.I.P. I miss you, Granny. But
No,
you know what I mean? But
it's true. I actually went to my sister's track meet today, and it's the same thing with her too. Like I'm hollering at her, I'm yelling. My mom's like, "Stop! She's got to lock in." I'm like, "I'm locking her in."
Oh, yeah, I saw somebody noticed you.
Yes, I did get noticed. Yes.
I saw that.
He's like, Liv, what did he say? Liv looks great in person or something. And I was like, "Did you see me in person?" He's like, "Yeah, red shorts at the track meet." I'm like, "Oh,
wow,
my
you
God."
knew the whole fit.
It's a good, you know what? It's a good thing that I am like, I maintain my professionalism no matter where I'm at in public. Now, in my house, when I'm watching sports, some of that professionalism flies out the window. But in public, outside of me yelling for my sister at a track meet, there was one time I called her Lightning McQueen. And then when she ran past me, I yelled ka-chow. And my family was like, "You've got to cut it out. Like, tone it down all the way down." I don't know if I will be able to have children that play sports. I'll be banned.
You'd be the best mom for it, though, because
I'm
all you
sure.
want to hear is your person cheering you on. Like, you think about this. You got guys for the Nuggets. You got all their parents out there. And the first thing they do when something happens, they look for them and it's like,
that's true, but I'm also not afraid to tell little Jimmy that he sucked on defense.
Oh, well.
And I'll be quiet the whole car ride home, pissed off.
Oh, try to be like our oldest. Don't let her pitch a bad game. She asked me, how'd I do? Terrible.
See, I can't lie. I'm not a liar, so it's hard for me. But no, honestly, I do think that's where I have to give a little bit of credit to OKC. In just a moment, you guys, we are going to have a quick clip from CB, and then we will get out of here. It is exceptionally late. And if you guys are on Eastern time, all my love to you. You are a rock star.
Appreciate y'all.
We have so many people when I'm doing a post-game live and we're going to like 12:30. People are like, "Yeah, it's 2:30 where I'm at." I'm like, "Go to bed. Watch it on replay." But we do have such great people that like to tune in. We've got over 14,000 of you watching live right now, and we appreciate you greatly for it.
14,000 people heard you call Alex Caruso a pimple.
A pimple.
A pimple.
He is not a pimple, but in the moment, I was just like, I think it's because I just wanted to like squeeze his head. I was just like, oh, but it's because he's so exceptional. Like he really is. And that's why I have to give a little credit. Alex Caruso, I think he's one of those players that when he's not on your team, you probably can't stand him. But when he's on your team, you're like, this dude. I mean, I can step away from my fit of rage now that the game is done and say, Alex Caruso deserves all the flowers and all the respect. I mean, on both sides of the floor in even game one, when the Nuggets pulled out with a dub, Alex Caruso was giving them hell on both sides of the floor. He is that guy that at any given moment, he's that sneaky. He kind of reminds me of like the Nas Reed of the Timberwolves.
Okay.
Where out of nowhere, you're like, okay, so now we got to worry about this guy? Really? So yeah, in that moment, I was like, really? I just want to pop him like a pimple. He's pissing me off. He's balling out. He's embarrassing my team. This is horrible.
That's what he does. And that's actually one of the best moves I think that the Thunder made.
Oh God,
was getting Alex Caruso, because he's the floor general for the second unit.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and he just creates havoc, hits a couple shots, gets in your face, strips the ball a couple of times.
And he's great at it. And here's the deal also. The one thing that I think a lot of people were concerned with about this OKC team, and maybe still are a little bit, is that they're young. And Alex Caruso brings that veteran presence.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment he's on the floor, it's a different team. And so he just, it's, oh my God, look at this. We've got 2:05 a.m. here, insane. 8 a.m. here. That's Serbia. We got a Serbian person tuning in. 8 a.m. I love that.
I love it.
That is incredible. But yeah, Alex Caruso is an absolute beast. Speaking of beast, got to give some credit where it's due to Christian Brown. Also, we talked a little bit about him and his adjustments that he was able to make in terms of defending SGA. That is not an easy task. SGA is likely winning the MVP. He has been playing at such a high level all season long. And CB, like the adjustments he made to James Harden in round one, he made those same adjustments to SGA for game 3, and it showed. It absolutely showed. So let's hear a little under 2 minutes from Christian Brown in the locker room, and then we will reconvene for just a moment, and we will get up out of here. But here is CB.
To be your standard, maybe hide for yourself defensively, but what's to say when y'all hold SGA to 18 points?
I mean, it's a team thing. I think that everybody was good behind me. I think that everybody did a really good job flying around. Like I said, Jamal was good. But Jalen had it going tonight too. So we're going to figure it out. We're going to learn. We're going to get better as the series goes on. But I think that, like I said, in the fourth quarter and overtime, I was good on him. But, there's a lot of guys doing a lot of things behind me that allows me to do, what I was doing. So we understand he's going to be aggressive next game. He's one of the best players in the world. So we got to be ready.
Can you explain how Jamal makes that shot where his back's to the basket and he just kind of throws it up over his head?
Well, if you try it enough, you might airball one over the rim and, you might get lucky. But, no, it seems like he makes those all the time. He makes them in obviously the regular season, a ton of games. But he makes a ton of those pretty regularly, and I think his percentage on those shots is pretty high. So, obviously the bubble one was pretty cool. And he's just an extremely talented player. And like I said, he just rises to the occasion. Tonight he did it on both ends, and when he's doing that, we're a tough team to beat.
You touched on it a little bit already, but Michael doing what he did tonight with just one arm still just continues to impress.
Yeah, his toughness, and that's just who he is. Me and him talked. We both got to be better before the game, and he was great. He hit a ton of tough shots. It's a big one to get overtime started, and that's just who he is. Like I said, he's going to hit big shots. When he's engaged on the defensive end, it takes his game to another level, and I think he was tonight. So he's great for us, and like I said, that's just who he is. He hits big shots. He doesn't see contests, and he's a really, really, really big part of our team. And obviously his toughness with one arm or whatever you call it, he's been great.
It's true. I had another person tag me in a tweet and basically say, they tagged me in a tweet that was like, make sure your apologies are as loud as your slander. Shh. Shut it down. I'm not apologizing. I think we all wanted more out of Michael Porter Jr. Is that fair? I'm sorry. Like, and by the way, shush up. Because by the way, we have a clip on our YouTube. Go find it. Do your research. Where Michael Porter Jr. himself said, my injury is not an excuse. Right. So as a max contract, let's pretend the injury doesn't matter. The first 2 games of this series and a few games in the last one, unacceptable.
100%.
If we're going to say the injury can't be an excuse and the injury doesn't matter, it's unacceptable. However, you can admire him playing through injury and trying to be there for his team, but then you've got to make the business decision of, if the injury is a liability, it's all good and great to announce that you want to be there for your team, but unless you're actually physically there for your team and making an impact, it doesn't really matter.
It kind of looks like his shoulder is getting a little better, just because the first couple games it looked like his arm is just kind of hanging.
He wasn't even using it. It felt like
this game he's not using it the smart way of diving in the piles. He's using his good arm, which is good for him. But it looks like even on his shot though, his arm is a little bit more active, is a little bit more ready. And so it looks like it does look like it's getting a little better. Obviously, we don't exactly know what's wrong. If it's a rotator cuff, if it's a labrum, like we don't necessarily know.
It's probably worse than what we think it is.
But and when we find out, we're gonna be like, damn, how'd you play with that? But he knows this, and that's why he said this, and that's why it's always like athletes kind of know the minute that you choose to play, that's not an excuse anymore.
You're playing.
You're going out there and you're playing, and so you can't. And that's what I always hate about some athletes though. When they're hurt and they do play, and if they don't play good, the first thing they do is blame the injury. No.
Didn't we have, Shelby, I'm pretty sure we sat in this very studio a year ago and had the exact same conversation, and I held him accountable the exact same way when I said, if your injury is bad enough to make you go 3 of 16 from the field, you shouldn't have played. That was Jamal Murray.
You did.
He had whatever he was dealing with last season when he was shooting very poorly. And I said, if your injury is bad enough to make you play that bad, you probably shouldn't have played. So really, I don't think there's anything wrong with people holding Michael Porter Jr. accountable. I think Michael Porter Jr. was also holding himself accountable in that way. So I think, there's no need to sit here and give apologies. That's not what this is about. It's more so, hey, he wasn't showing up. He wasn't doing his job. And I said many times on my show as well, I know he's injured. But if the injury becomes a liability, you have to make a business decision there. And I think you see what you got from him tonight. We know that with Michael Porter Jr., a lot of it is mental and a lot of it is his confidence. But I think this type of game watching him dive, watching him get on the floor, watching him play aggressive and make big plays is exactly what he needs for his confidence. So
And
it's
he
big
did
time.
it. And honestly, at that point, next game, you're just going to see him no thought behind it, just putting it up.
Yep.
Just like it was during the
Just
regular
take the
season
shot.
when he was healthy.
Yep.
And so that's what you want for anybody that's out there playing, in the postseason. You want anybody to feel comfortable just to go out there and shoot it.
Yep.
And that's what they're going to do. So I'm excited to see just who's hot. Who's
Yeah.
going to be the hot hand.
Who's hot, who's not?
Because honestly, the way the Nuggets have been doing it is actually pretty cool. It's been a different hot hand almost every win.
I said this maybe last week or the week before, and I said one of the, that saying that what makes you good makes you bad. My dad told me that growing up all the time. He's like, what makes you good is you can walk in a room and light it up. What makes you bad is people are going to hate you for it. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. You view it as your superpower. But what makes you good makes you bad. What's good about the Denver Nuggets is at any given moment, any one of these guys can turn around and give you hell. What then makes that same scenario bad is you never know who it's going to be. So it could be all of them at once. It could be one guy. It could be two guys. It could be 0 guys. And that's when you lose. So it really just depends. Well, Shelby, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. It's late.
It's about that time.
What's your quick last second prediction for game 4? Who's winning?
I got the Nuggets. I got Joker dropping 30, but then I got Aaron Gordon giving you 26.
Oh, okay. And I'm gonna go with the Nuggets dub, and I'm gonna go with Russ getting some of that offensive mojo back a little bit. I think we didn't need that from Russ tonight, because you got more from everybody else, and we know he's been pretty hot, and I think he just enjoys playing in OKC as well. But I do think that Russ pops off again a little bit. So
I hope so.
I do too. I love it. I love it when my take continues to age like fine wine. So, okay. Well, I think that does it for our post-game live reaction show. We have been live over an hour and it's getting late, but what a show. We had a great showing. Thank you guys for being here. And we will, of course, be live again Sunday. Will you be joining me Sunday?
I will.
Yes. Shelby will be live with me in studio again on Sunday. And Sunday is an earlier one, so we won't be up past your bedtime, Shelby.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. You can catch the Nuggets taking on OKC in game 4. And yeah, we'll be back then. We'll be back in studio live doing a post-game live reaction show. This has been presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Shout out to our friends over at Trusted American. You can head to trustedamerican.com, see how they can help you save some money, getting you a better interest rate, lowering your monthly payments. They are literally designed to help, so go check them out at trustedamerican.com. I'm Liv Moods. That's Shelby Harris. Signing off for now, but we will catch you Sunday following game 4 for another post-game live reaction show. See ya.